From the blind eternities to your favorite local game store, welcome to Planeswalker Radio, your ultimate source for all things Magic the Gathering. Whether you're slinging spells at Friday Night Magic, brewing the perfect deck, or just diving into the lore of the multiverse, we've got you covered. Join us as we explore the latest set releases, wild deck techs, and the stories behind the cards we love. So grab your deck, shuffle up, and get ready to ignite your spark, because this is Planeswalker Radio. Here at Planeswalker Radio, we love turning cardboard sideways and slinging spells, and it's important to us that the place we choose to do that is fun, relaxed, and professional. That's why we choose to buy our cards and accessories at First Play. Their showroom staff in Calgary, Alberta are some of the best in the business with decades of experience. They're always able to help us and members of the community find exactly the correct cards to add to our latest decks. Don't live in Calgary, Alberta? Not to worry, they ship Canada-wide. Check out their website at firstplayer.ca for Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Lorcana, and the accessories to protect your cards. First Player, the heart of the gaming community in the heart of Calgary, Alberta. Find their website linked in the description below. Don't go anywhere, the show is about to begin.
All right, Nerd Home friends, welcome back to Planeswalker Radio. You got myself, Lee, and John over here. We are coming to you from the recording studio of Nerd Home, John's home. How exciting! The OG Nerd Home. The OG Nerd Home. All right, today, folks, we are talking about Tarkir, Dragonstorm. We are doing a precon review of the 5 precons that came out in this set. Let's dive right in. We will start with Abzan. John, take it away.
Yeah, cool. So Abzan Armor is the first precon that we're going over. The primary commander that was put onto this, because every precon has primary, every precon has a secondary. You swap them out interchangeably, and it just changes how the deck plays a little bit.
Some secondaries are better, others are not.
So the first or the primary commander is Fellothar the Steadfast. Now he's 4 CMC for a 0/5 legendary human warrior. And he says each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Now, we spoke about this one in the set review episode, and he's just really great, and he's better than his counterpart, the Door in the Siege Tower.
Yep.
But he's commander, so we're going to go over him just super fast here. The second part, creatures you control can attack as though they didn't have Defender. Some background that I don't think we did in the set review. Defender makes it so you specifically cannot attack. It's a keyword that makes it so you can only block.
Just blocking.
And then his third ability, you can pay 3, tap him, sacrifice another creature, draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's toughness, and then discard cards equal to its power.
I love being able to ramp off your commander, specifically card draw ramp.
Yeah. Card advantage is the second most powerful effect in the game, and being able to have it on a reliable and most likely heavily protected piece of your deck that you can continue to bring back is really, really good.
Not only that, because we've talked about this with this card before, because most of your creatures are going to be very low power, very high toughness, the reward for loss of cards, which even if it were an even, like, you draw 5 cards, you discard 5 cards, you're just filtering out your deck, which is a great thing by itself.
Yeah.
This, you're drawing 5 cards and you're probably keeping all 5 cards.
Yeah, the chances it's like a 0/5 or a 1/5 or something like that are really good. There are cards in there like Tree of Redemption where it's like a 0/13. And right? If you don't trigger the tree and instead you just sack it for 13 cards, 3 mana for 13 cards is a no-brainer.
Yeah. Not even a question. Moving on to the secondary commander here, we've got Baator Ancestor's Voice. Baator is a 2 generic, 1 white, 1 black, 1 green for a legendary creature, Spirit Dragon. Baator has flying and lifelink and says the following. At the beginning of your end step, put a number of 1/1 counters on up to 1 other target creature you control, equal to the amount of life you gain this turn. Return up to 1 target creature card with mana value less than or equal to the amount of life you lost this turn from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this is a twofold commander. I mean, first of all, flying lifelink, no problems with that. I never have an issue with that. You've got adding 1/1 counters,
Mhm.
and you've got recursion,
Yeah,
all built into one card.
yeah,
Pairs really nicely with the first commander too.
yeah,
You sack a creature, then you bring it back immediately.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's really great. The thing that always makes me a little bit worried about Baitor is it's counting your life fluctuation, right? Ups and downs and ups and downs. Sometimes it can be a little bit hard to make sure that you're getting both your ups and your downs. It's really easy because the built-in lifelink just on Baitor
Up, you're going
to
probably no problem.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting your health down consistently enough to be able to have consistent recursion in there. It's a little bit more difficult, but not even close to impossible.
I think we've already talked about this card as well. The 0-13 where you can swap your life total. That's technically bringing your life
Yeah,
down. So if
yeah,
there's a card that you specifically want to get out of your graveyard this turn, you swap your life total around, and all of a sudden you're pulling back a 27 CMC creature, which I don't know of any of those, but it's an option that's available to
yeah.
you.
Let's hop into the first one that I have here, Weathered Sentinels. I when I saw this card, I just went absolutely nuts. I was like, this is a phenomenal card. Just on its own, in this deck, it really performs as well. So Weathered Sentinels is 3 generic for a artifact creature wall. It's got Defender, Vigilance, Reach, and Trample, which let's just pause for a moment and talk about the fact that it has Reach, or not Reach, Vigilance and Trample with the Defender keyword.
With the defender keyword,
Right.
kind of makes no sense until you put it in this deck.
Or really even just read the card. We'll go into it in a moment, but this card was designed to be in big butt strategy decks. Like
Makes sense.
It's great. So it says this creature can attack players who attacked you during the last turn as though it didn't have defender. Whenever this creature attacks, it gets +3/+3 and gains indestructible until end of turn.
Wild. So that's 8/8 if it swings out
5/8. It's a 2/5.
with the 3/3, 5/8.
5/8.
But with the commander 8/8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And it just keeps getting better the more you go into it. It's going
Talk about keyword soup.
really,
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
and it's going to perform every single time.
Every time. Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's highly specific, but every single time it's going to be good. It's good as a blocker. It's good as an attacker. It's just good.
It's just good. Moving on to the next one on our list, we got Shalai. We've got Shalai, Voice of Plenty. 4 CMC for total hexproof card is basically what we're looking at here. It is a legendary creature angel, flying. Your planeswalkers you control and other creatures you control have hexproof. So just generic hexproof across the board.
Yeah.
Never anything wrong with that. And then as a secondary, it's got a 4 generic 2 green to put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Pretty steep cost there. Don't know if you're going to utilize that second ability too much, but across the board, hexproof is never something to scoff at.
4 mana to put hexproof on you as a player, which is pretty rare.
Rare.
Right? And your planeswalkers and all creatures except for Shalai on your board, right? I think just sneak something like a Swiftfoot Boots,
Yeah.
something like that onto it, and now your whole board, like they have to have a board weight to deal with it. Just
Yeah. Crazy.
yeah.
Next up,
Ikra Shadiki, the Usurper. I just like saying that name.
it's a great name.
It's whoever came out with this was like, yes, this is the name. 5 CMC for this one for a legendary snake wizard. At 3/7, he's got menace. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. Now, in a deck that cares about toughness,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Wild.
This means as long as your creature can sneak 1 point of damage through, right? It heals for its toughness. Just 1.
Yeah.
So even if we go back and we look at that weathered sentinels, where it's going 8/8 trample,
Trample.
and it gets
Yeah.
one of those through, it's gonna heal for the 8.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is a crazy capability. My favorite thing about this is it's not like it's a board wide lifelink.
Yeah.
I've also never seen a board wide lifelink before. I think
Yeah.
that's very cool. It being based off of toughness is just flavor for the deck.
Yeah.
Great card.
Great
Great card. Seaboard Muse is next. We've all seen Seaboard Muse. We all know Seaboard Muse. This is a 5 CMC, 3 generic, 2 green for a spirit creature. Untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. Board wide vigilance.
There's a reason that this just got added to the game changer list.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
it's
I love it. Love a precon that has a game changer in it.
yeah.
Something
Yeah.
about that is just great.
You can tell for sure that they built the deck list,
And then we're like,
printed them,
whoa.
and then did the game changes. And
Yeah.
oh, we might have made a mistake.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that is like the extra little bit that's just kind of flavorfully funny is it's a 2/4, so
Yeah.
it fits the theme of the deck
Fits
too.
the theme. Fits the theme.
Yeah,
Next
great.
up.
We're going into Towering Titan. This is a 6 mana, so 4 generic, 2 green for a creature giant. He is a 0/0 naturally, which means you have to be a little bit careful because he can die just by existing. However, he says he enters with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the total toughness of other creatures you control, and sacrifice a creature with Defender. All creatures gain trample until the end of turn.
Holy moly.
This is just a lot to unpack, right? First, it's counting toughness in a toughness tribal deck.
Yeah.
You're going to hit like 30 or 40 if this is coming out late game, which
Yeah.
at 6 CMC, this should be coming out mid to late game.
Yeah.
If you're getting this out in early game, congratulations, good for you. You probably still have the biggest, baddest beater on the table.
It's true.
But this is probably a mid to late game card that has really, really great kill potential.
Total toughness of other creatures. Let's just talk about the cards we've talked about so far. You've got 5, 9, 16, 20, just in the 4 cards we've talked about so far.
Yeah.
20 coming out on the board, swinging out with trample because it can.
Yeah. And you sack something like you sack the Weathered Sentinels or something like that. I don't know,
Yeah.
something with Defender to get
Yeah.
the trample, and all of a sudden Towering Titan is just a massive, massive problem.
Massive problem. Yeah. Very, very cool card.
Yeah.
Plus, I do like that it's not reliant. This one is not reliant on your commander being out.
Yeah.
Versus the other ones where it's a little bit more reliant on the commander being on the field.
Yeah.
This is just a powerhouse all by itself.
A-
A little bit more expensive, but a powerhouse all by itself.
Absolutely. It's kind of nice to have a win con that is outside of the commander.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Next up, Tower Defense, 2 CMC, 1 generic, 1 green for an instant spell this time. Creatures you control get +0/+5 and gain reach until the end of turn. I mean, this is good counter for flying decks if you're being swung at by a million dragons, as an example. Funnily enough, this is a dragon-based release, so
Yeah.
there's some flying out there, boys and girls.
Yeah.
Gives you the reach to counter those, plus more big butt on your big butt swingers.
I mean, this card, I like it because it's good for defense. As you said, right?
Yeah.
You have incoming flyers and all that kind of stuff. Like, oh, look, everything can now block and they're thick. So chances at +0/+5, you're probably not losing much,
No,
to be honest.
probably not killing much either, to be fair.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
I mean, if Felothar is out
that's true.
and you're saying
Yep.
damage equal to toughness, that's a completely different story. But even if
Yeah.
you don't have that, you're probably not losing much, probably not killing much. But then on the offensive side as well, if you do have Felothar out, you can play this as a combat trick to make sure that you're getting guys in with high damage.
Everything gets trample, everything cuts +0/+5, you kill somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
like,
yeah.
It combos like on the trample thing, right? If you put it with Towering Titan,
Yeah.
right, and you lean into the kill there,
Yeah.
right, really, really great.
Really focus down one opponent, i.e. the threat. Though most likely you're the threat at this point,
Y-
but it doesn't matter.
yeah, right.
There's always another threat.
If you could be moving at the correct pace here and be taking out players as they are your largest threat,
Yeah,
there's a good chance you just steamroll. One turn take out this player, next turn take out this player, and
yeah.
next turn take out the last player.
And if you have Seaboard Muse on the table,
Uh,
you don't care about retribution
yeah,
because all of a sudden everything's untapped anyway.
yeah. Moving on to Fëanor's Urn. This was an interesting one when I saw it. I had to read it like 4 times to
It's fair.
really grasp how actually great this is.
Yeah,
So 3 CMC,
all generic.
all generic, for an artifact that says whenever a creature with toughness 4 or greater is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may exile it. At the beginning of the end step, if 3 or more cards have been exiled with this artifact, sacrifice it. If you do, return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control.
Holy moly. Wow,
Like
that's incredible, actually.
the ability just to be like, I get that these are dead, but actually they're coming back,
Yeah.
right?
This is, I mean, I love that you can pick and choose. Most of the
Yeah,
time when you're exiling cards that die, um, you're not picking and choosing.
yeah. It's just doing it to
It's
all
just
of them.
doing it to everything.
Yeah,
Whereas this, you get to pick 3 cards, 3 key pieces of your battlefield that just come back.
yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
And
That's an anti-board wipe mechanic.
it
That's,
it
yeah,
really is. There's a couple sack outlets or ways of sacrificing creatures in this deck as well. Just kind of fit in with the
with the
black
black.
theme.
Yeah,
And so it really plays in nicely because then you can also kind of select, I need these things to go into my graveyard right now. They'll go into graveyard, I exile them, I bring them back, I capitalize off those ETBs right away,
yeah,
and start things moving, right?
yeah,
It's also a really nice way if you could protect the turn to keep things hiding in exile until you're ready to use them because they're not really interactable in exile.
yeah. Very fair. All right, last but not least of our top picks from this specific precon, probably my favorite card in this deck. I just read it for the second time, and all of a sudden, I'm in love.
It's so good.
Behind the Scenes. This is a 3 CMC, 2 generic, 1 black for an enchantment. So this is permanent on the board. Creatures you control have Skulk. Skulk is a keyword that is, it can't be blocked by things with greater power. Your creatures have 0 power at the best of times. This is where you have Tree of Redemption. Redemption?
Yeah, redemption.
Cool. This is where you have Tree of Redemption, which is a 0/13. You swing it out with your commander on the field. It's got 0 power. Nothing is blocking it. So that's a 13/13 now just hitting somebody in the face.
Yeah.
I mean, talk talk about win cons, but
It's
I mean that's an incredible card in a deck where most of your creatures are going to have less than 2 power and really high toughness that is actually dealing the damage. Very
yeah.
cool card.
Mm,
Very cool card.
yeah. Easily a win con. Easily, I think out of the 2 cards that we've seen so far, that or 3 cards in this deck so far that have, I think, really strong ways of winning
Hmm.
in this. This is my favorite one for
Absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely. Moving on to things that we think you could replace. This
Yeah.
is where you're going to look for if you think you have something better, that you're just going to throw away one of these cards and put something else in. We're not going to give you recommendations on new cards to put in today, guys. Realistically, the deck is about you. So build the deck how you want to. These are just what we think are good cards to take out and add some flavor where
Yeah.
you're not going to really miss them.
Yeah. Absolutely. We're gonna start here with indulging attrition, and so it's a 3 CMC generic white and black for a 1/4 flying lifelink creature vampire. It says at the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, each opponent loses 3 life.
I think that needs to go in Olivia.
It's great in vampire decks.
Yeah.
Like there's just a lot of places where it is
Yeah.
good, but
Huge aristocrat piece. At the end of the day, this isn't an aristocrat deck.
yeah, it's out of theme here. Like I can see a little bit maybe if you're putting it into Baitor, where he cares about life going up and down and up and down
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah.
but it still feels out of place. It's it's okay. It's maybe not even going to be consistent. So it's
I'm not mad at it, but it's like you said, it just doesn't quite fit the theme.
yeah.
Next up, Protector of the Wastes. Protector of the Wastes is a 4 generic, 2 white for a dragon. So this is a dragon card. We're telling you to take a dragon out of the dragon deck. That being said, flying, when this creature enters or becomes monstrous, exile up to 2 target artifacts and or enchantments controlled by a different player. I'm not mad at this card, but it's a 5/5 dragon. I guess it's a damage piece, but it just doesn't quite fit. You've already got a lot of damage potential output. With white, you've already got a decent amount of removal in this deck. Just
Yeah.
seems unnecessary.
The way I see this is a 6 mana removal piece for
Mm,
a 5/5. So power toughness aren't on that offset that they should be. You're removing pieces, and then the monstrous part where you're getting 3 counters. Um, like for 5 mana, it just monstrous in my opinion is one of the worst mechanics in the game.
yeah,
Right? But then on top of this, to get a total of an 8/8 with 2 pieces of removal, you're
for
paying
a ton of mana.
10 mana,
Yeah,
11 mana.
11. Yeah.
It's just not. It's not even close to worth it. You can drop that for just
There are
about
better
anything
dragons.
else.
There are
Yeah,
better dragons.
yeah. Moving on to Wall of Reverence. It is a 4 mana, 3 generic, and 1 white for a 1/6 spirit wall creature with defender and flying. It says at the beginning of your end step, you may gain life equal to the power of target creature you control. We're in toughness tribal deck.
Yeah, it, you're typically now. I say this as a typically because if you manage to get this combo off in the right direction and you get the big old giant out and
Yeah,
it's a 20/20 and you're now gaining 20 health at each end step, absolutely not a bad thing.
yeah,
It is also a 1/6, so it does play into the big butts theme a little bit. However, it just doesn't quite hit all of the notes for me, and it's trying to do the wrong thing in the wrong direction.
yeah. This just seems to me like it's completely missing the mark,
Yeah.
which makes it completely inconsistent.
Now, if it were you gain life equal to toughness,
Oh,
completely different story.
like,
Absolutely auto include.
yeah,
Put like 5 of them in there. You can't do that. It's illegal, but do it anyway.
yeah. I agree 100%. But
Yeah,
the way it is right now, and don't get me wrong, there are decks that this absolutely belongs in,
absolutely.
just not this one.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Last up on our list here, guys, we've got Slaughter the Strong. This is a 3 CMC, 1 generic, 2 white sorcery card. Each player chooses any number of creatures they control with total power 4 or less, then sacrifices all other creatures they control. It's great. I'm not mad at it. It's a board wipe. It's a cheap board wipe, technically speaking. It's a targeted board wipe.
So my issue is, what if you need to control the board, but then you have to send your Powering Titan,
Yeah.
or like there's enough pieces in here where there are 2, 3 power in there that the collateral damage from doing this is just a little bit too large to be worth risking it.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, again, this is very situational. If you kind of know what you're going up against, if you're playing against a dino deck or a true full dinosaur deck, there's very much a place for this. Realistically speaking, it's just of the cards that are in this deck, and this just goes to show how good these precons are. Realistically, at the end of the day, of the cards that are in this deck, this is one that we feel could be taken out. There are other board wipes that are just more advantageous, I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that has been Abzan, ladies and gentlemen. We are now moving on to Mardu Surge.
Mardu Surge. Is it me?
It is you.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll start with Zergo Stormrender. He's the primary commander on this deck. He is 3 CMC, a red, a white, and a black.
Love a cheap commander.
I was just about to say he's remarkably low for a commander.
For a
Which
3-color deck, having a 3
I mean, yeah, this is the
great.
lowest you could go for a 3 color. It's really great. So he is the red, white, black for 3/3 with mobilize 1. Mobilize is whenever this creature attacks, could attacked and attacking 1/1 red creature token, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Mobilize always does something like that where it makes a token. It might even be a 1/1 red creature, but it always makes a token equal to whatever the number is. So he's making one every time. Then he says, whenever a creature token you control leaves the battlefield, draw a card if it was attacking. Otherwise, each opponent loses 1 life. He
Wild.
literally plays into himself. He
Yeah.
makes the token, attacks with the token, sacks the token, draws a card off of doing that.
Yep.
It, it's
Just a good commander.
yeah, it's just a closed circuit. I think that about sums up Zergo. He's just really good, self-sufficient commander.
Yeah, and because he's so inexpensive, your deck is going to get off the ground faster than most of the others in this precon list. Not to say it's significantly faster. A lot of the other commanders are only 4 CMC, but having that 1 turn advantage where you're now drawing an additional card on that 1 turn, it just
Yeah.
speeds you up.
Yeah,
Just speeds you up.
absolutely.
Yeah. Secondary commander, we've got Neriv. Neriv.
Something like that.
We've got Neriv Crackling Vanguard. Neriv Crackling Vanguard is another spirit dragon, funnily enough, with
Cool.
flying and death touch this time, which is a fun mechanic. I always love to see a big beastie with death touch.
Yeah.
When Neriv enters, create 2 1/1 red goblin tokens. Whenever Neriv attacks, exile a number of cards from the top of your library equal to the number of differently named tokens you control. During any turn you attacked with a commander, you may play those cards. First of all, as a secondary commander, it's cool having keywords in there or text in there that is when your commander attacks.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean Nariv has to attack to get this trigger, which is very cool in my opinion. I mean, once again, you're kind of getting card draw. I would say that absolutely in this precon, Zergo is the correct choice for your commander. I can't imagine not running Zergo as a commander just because of how good he is.
Yeah.
That being said, this is a different way to play the deck, which is what all of the secondary commanders are about. They're just a different way to play the deck. This is playing from your exile. I think there's a clear winner on who's better.
Yeah, I agree. Just looking at it from a really, without even looking at what's in the rest of the deck,
Yeah,
Zergo is faster. He loops with himself, and he has less conditions to be able to achieve what he's trying to do. Whereas with Nariv, you have to jump through a couple of hoops
yeah,
to make sure that he's activating correctly.
yeah. And to get him doing what he wants to be doing efficiently, you need at least 3
Yeah,
tokens on the board, which by no means is hard. Academy Manufacturer and a Treasure gets you 3 tokens right then and there.
yeah,
But it's still an extra step.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into my personal favorite segment where we look at the top cards in this deck.
Lucky you. You're gonna have, including this one, 4 more of your favorite segments.
I love this segment. I also love telling you what not to keep in your decks, but this is better.
This is true. Telling you the good stuff is better than telling you the not good stuff.
It absolutely is. First up, we got Gix Yawgmoth Praetor. It's a 3 CMC, 1 generic, 2 black for a legendary Phyrexian Praetor. Praetor? Praetor?
Praetor.
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 All right. It is a 3 CMC, 1 generic, 2 black for a legendary creature Phyrexian Praetor. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may pay 1 life. If they do, they draw a card. So, more card draw on top of the card draw that you're getting from the token, plus another chance to potentially do some damage to get you more card draw. This is just a card dog creature. Its activated ability is expensive. It is 7 CMC for this, 4 generic, 3 black. Discard X cards, exile the top X cards of target opponent's library. You may play lands and cast spells from among cards exiled this way without paying their mana cost. I mean, I don't want you to have 7 cards off the top of your deck. I'm going to take those and just play them all.
Uh, uh, I think here Um, this is really a self-sufficient loop, is
Yeah.
what it is, right? Like you said, your card denying other people,
Hmm.
but there's also the political aspect to it. Like, hey, do you want to draw cards? Leave kicks out and attack this person,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You can pay life to draw cards and all that. And of course, it includes you as well. If you attack your own opponents, you draw cards. But then, maybe you've paid 20 life, something dramatic like that,
Yeah.
and then you pay your 7 and you discard 20 cards, and then go and pick up out of exile 20 cards of somebody else and
Yeah.
really deny them their resources,
Yeah.
right? And then just start
Just drop
just
things.
dropping things, just oh crazy, I'm going to play your deck.
Yeah. It's just a cool card, honestly.
Yeah,
Thematically, I would say it doesn't necessarily 100% fit the theme of this deck, but it's just cool.
it's just cool. And the card advantage in it is so good that it doesn't really matter that it's
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Exactly. Next
Up
up.
up next we have Chittering Wit. It's a 4 CMC 3 generic 1 black. My lord. Um 4 CMC 3 generic, 1 black for a human warlock at a 2/2 stat line. It says when this creature enters, create a number of 1/1 black rat creature tokens equal to the number of opponents you have. Then you can pay 2, 1 generic, 1 black to sacrifice a creature. Target creature gets -2/-2 until the end of turn.
So this is, you can utilize this on yourself. You could utilize this, you sacrifice a token creature to put a -2/2 on another token creature. And if you had uh,
Zergo?
Zergo out, you're taking life from your opponents. Like they're knocked down 2 just from that one combination.
Yep.
Yep.
From paying them? Yep, I
Yep.
understand
Because
what you're saying.
you're pinging a damage off of all of your opponents just by
Yeah,
killing your tokens.
yeah.
So you can do it to yourself, or someone has a problematic 2/2 mana dork or something that is just in your way.
Even if it's not a 2/2, right? If you have the mana to spare, you can just start stacking stuff and be like,
Mm,
-2, now it's -4, now it's
yep.
-6, and you can just start clearing off large threats off the board.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Just a cool way to use your tokens because it is a token deck at the end of the day.
Yeah,
So you're gonna hopefully have a ton of tokens, and this is a cool alternate way to use them. I think.
yeah.
Yeah. Next up, is it me?
It's
It's
you.
me. Oh, it's me, baby. Gold Knight Commander is next up on our list. It is 4 CMC, 3 generic, 1 white. This is a human creature, cleric soldier, 2/2 stat line. Whenever another creature you control enters, creatures you control get a 1/1 until the end of turn. Once again, this is a token deck. Hopefully, you're bringing in a bunch of creatures every turn. They're piddly little creatures, but if you add on 4/1/1 tokens from 4 creatures entering this turn, your piddly little creatures are no longer piddly and little.
Yeah. And it kind of it stacks, right? So like you have a oh, it doesn't even stack. It's just board wide. It counts how many you have, and
Yeah,
everybody
it's
gets that
yeah,
buff.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's
exactly.
not encounters; it's a load effect. Like, just I think this is actually a potential win con of the game.
Absolutely.
Because if you get a really good, really explosive turn where you drop 6, 7, 8 tokens in,
You even get a card like Stormherd off with this out on the field, and you bring in 40 Pegasus, and you put 41 counters on all of your creatures.
yeah,
I mean, there's nothing bad about
yeah,
that.
it's just good. Thalise, Reverent Medium, 5 CMC, 1 white, 1 black for a human cleric creature at a 3/4. She says at the beginning of each end step, create X 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying, where X is the number of tokens you created this turn.
Hmm, I love it.
Like,
You're creating guaranteed 1 if you have Zergo out.
yeah,
Guaranteed,
guaranteed.
which means you're creating guaranteed 2 just with this combo.
Yeah, it like it's really, really, I think, difficult to miss the mark on this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like, it'd be great if you'd be making 4 or 5 per turn, but that's not really realistic. But if you're making 2 or 3 a turn,
yeah,
right, you're just bringing in 2 or 3 tokens and another 2 or 3 tokens,
yep,
right? It gets out of hand really, really fast. And
Really
the fact that
fast.
they're flyers as well,
Yeah.
right? That kind of
Gives you a
defensive
little bit
line
of
is,
protection. Yeah.
yeah, it's just fantastic. Speaking of Stormherd,
Yeah.
the next one.
Grand Crescendo. No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a turn this would end up being, especially late game where you have the mana to spend into it. So Grand Crescendo, for those of you who don't know, is an X cost card with 2 white associated as well. It's an instant speed card that says create X 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. Creatures you control gain indestructible until the end of turn. So I mean, we talk about any of the last three, two really, either of the last two cards that we spoke about, and we pair it with Grand Crescendo, and you're gonna have a great time.
Yeah. Yeah, you are. Yeah.
You're either going to massively increase the size of the creatures you have on the board, or you are going to massively increase the number of creatures on your board by doubling what you bring in. So
Yeah.
you bring in X is equal to 10, and you have uh, the Lees on the board, you're bringing in 20 realistically at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's just what you're bringing in.
Yeah.
Plus, you've still got triggers from Zergo or whoever else you have out bringing in tokens.
Yeah.
Just a great piece of. I would say this is a win con in this deck.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To be fair, it's a win con in most token
Yeah.
decks. It is a very strong card, but in this deck specifically, as long as you have a couple other pieces out, you're going to be having a great time.
Here's a really crazy, more advanced way to use this card.
I'm ready for it.
Okay. So you have Gold Knight Commander out, it's talked about, right? He really cares about those creatures coming in.
Yeah.
Now you already have a board state.
Yeah.
You swing in with your board state.
Oh,
Then
you
at
instantly
instant
Grand
speed as a
Crescendo.
contract or as a combat trick, you Grand Crescendo
Yeah.
to give everything a 10/10 buff. Or
Huge.
whatever buff
Yeah.
you're paying X for. Wild. And then you do this
And
to
then you do
follow
this.
up.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
next card up, Skull Clamp. It goes in every token deck you ever build ever. It's just guaranteed card draw. It's a one generic artifact equipment. Costs 1 mana to equip it. Target creature gets +1/-1. So if you have a billion 1/1 tokens out there, you can essentially chain this together. And whenever equipped creature dies, draw 2 cards.
1 mana for 2 cards is a blue mechanic.
Absolutely.
There are very few other colors that do 1 mana for 2 cards. And the fact that it's repeatable,
Yeah.
you just like if you just brought in your 10 citizen creatures, you really need gas for something and
Yeah.
you're kind of running out of it. You just ping, 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 ping until you get what you want. You can do it in instances of one. You equip one, you get 2 cards. I need another one. You do it again. You do it again. You do
Yeah.
it again, and you can stop whenever you want. It's incredible.
Skull Clamp goes in every token deck ever created, ever, without question. If you don't have
Yeah.
Skull Clamp in your token deck, buy one, put it in there. You'll thank me later.
Yeah, yeah. It's just so good.
Yeah.
Moving along. We don't need to obsess over that for the rest of the episode.
I mean, we could.
We probably could. Within range, this is probably, I think, my favorite card in this deck.
Fair enough.
Okay. 4 CMC, 3 generic, 1 black for enchantment that says when this enchantment enters, create 2 1/1 red creature tokens, which is fine.
It's,
Yeah.
get some tokens.
Whenever you attack, each opponent loses life equal to the number of creatures attacking them. Oof. In a token deck? In a token deck?
Wow.
I'm sorry. I kill you because I attacked you, not because I hit you, not because I did combat damage, because I looked at you and decided it's time for you to go.
So let's Grand Crescendo. Let's swing 20 tokens just from Grand Crescendo, just as an example. Then we're going to say you lose 20 life. And realistically, if you're playing Grand Crescendo for 20, you're pretty late game. You probably don't have 20 life left. So we're gonna swing 20 creatures, and you're just gonna die. And then I have 20 tokens.
Yeah.
And I can do that 3 times in a row and just clear the table.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And also, the crazy part, this is on hack trigger.
Yeah.
Which means if somebody wants to stop it before it happens, they have to interfere as you enter into combat. Because as soon as you declare the attack,
It's too late.
It's triggering. Right?
Yeah, very cool. Very cool card. Moving right along from one win con into another, we've got Divine Visitation up next. It's a 5 CMC, 3 generic, 2 white, for an enchantment. If one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, that many 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance are created instead. Once again, we talked about it with Skull Clamp. This is another one where if you're running a token deck, most token decks run white. If you're running a token deck, this is in it.
Yeah, every
Without
time,
without
guaranteed,
question.
100%. Just like this is doing something like again Grand Crescendo. You're doing the X for 10. Instead of getting 10 1/1 citizens, you get 10 4/4 flying vigilant angels.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
stonks.
Absolutely nothing filthy about that whatsoever.
Yeah,
Continue on with your day. Pretend you didn't hear about this card. Let's go on to the replaceables.
yeah, just fantastic.
In all seriousness, absolutely a win con in the deck.
Yeah,
Tokens coming in as angels is
yeah,
never a bad thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that I really want to kind of stress here is the amount of synergy this deck has of itself.
Yeah.
It just plays so nicely. I think, especially if you have Zergo leading it,
Yeah.
I think Nariv might be a little bit of a stretch to hold on to this strategy. But with Zergo leading this, you're moving fast, you're synergizing with yourself really well.
You're drawing a ton of cards.
You're drawing a ton of cards. You're
Yeah.
making opponents lose life. You're swinging out. You're doing damage. It's just
Yeah.
altogether a really, really good build.
Really well rounded. A little bit reliant on the commander, but also not really.
But also not really.
Yeah.
A lot of these are 2 card combos where you
Yeah.
can easily get away with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Replaceable cards.
yeah.
Take us away, John.
Mind Blade Render. I'm sad this is a replaceable card because it sounds cool. The art is cool. Everything
The
about
art
this
is
is
very
cool.
cool.
It's just not doesn't it's not worth it. It's 2 mana, generic and a black for a 1/3 creature, Azra Warrior. I didn't even know Azra was a subtype. This is a new one for
I think
me.
it must be a command, maybe.
Or something, but maybe
Yeah.
like the Sibsig or something.
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. Yeah.
Whenever your opponents are dealt combat damage, if any of that was dealt damage by a warrior, you draw a card and you lose 1 life.
Yeah, I get it.
If it didn't say if it was dealt by a warrior, it would be better. It would be worth it.
Yes. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, if you have Zergo as your commander, he brings in warriors.
Yeah.
It is a warrior that he creates on Immobilize. But again, I just feel like there's too many ways to have this not work in your favor, i.e., you have Divine Visitation out.
Yeah, Divine Visitation. Even like when we're talking about like Grand Crescendo, it's
Yeah.
not bringing in
Yeah,
warriors.
it's bringing in citizens.
Felice is bringing in spirits,
Yeah.
not warriors. Like,
It's very, to a degree, very restrictive.
Yeah.
And as much as it's cool, I don't think it's necessary. You're drawing cards without losing life in 100 different ways. You don't
Yeah.
need to be drawing an extra card losing life,
Yeah.
even though black treats life as a resource. But
I agree. This would be great in a warrior tribal deck, but not in a token.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Next up, Emiria Angel, 4 CMC, 2 generic, 2 white for a creature angel, flying with landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you may create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. I get what they're going for. Technically speaking, you're playing a land every turn. Ideally speaking, you're playing
Ideally, yeah.
ideally speaking, you're playing a land every turn, which means you're getting a token every turn, which does synergize with the deck. I see where they're going with it. Not fast enough.
It's not. Yeah, I agree. It's not fast enough, and it kind of more works with Nariv than it does Zergo.
Yes.
Right. Nariv wants to see that bird token because he needs to count it towards the differently named tokens. Zergo
Absolutely.
just doesn't.
He
He
doesn't
doesn't
care.
care about it.
Yeah.
It's too slow. And 4 mana for a 3/3.
Just, I mean, flying is great.
Like,
But you can spend 4 mana on better things,
yeah,
as we kind of saw with things like within range.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Absolutely.
realistically, good card, wrong deck.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. The last one we got here is Commander's Insignia. It is 4 mana, 2 generic, 2 white for enchantment. It says creatures you control get +1/+1 for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game.
You get it. I do. I totally understand. Zergo's cheap.
Yeah.
Zergo is very cheap. You could have him in and out 3 times while some people don't even have their commander out yet. why would you intentionally kill your commander?
Yeah, you should never be intentionally putting him back there. And then on top of that, even if he gets removed twice, 3 times, gets pulled out 3, 4, 5 times, however many times you pull him out, it's only +1/+1, which means to get that buff, not only have you paid the 4 mana for the enchantment to be out, you've paid your 3 mana for the initial, plus your 5 mana for a 2/2. So 8 mana total for a 2/2 buff.
Yeah.
Right. And then after that, it goes up even more, right? You hit 7 mana on top of that 8, putting you at 15 mana for a
Yeah.
3/3 buff.
I think
Like-
if this was worded slightly differently, where it wasn't out of your command zone. If you could cast your commander from your hand and still get this benefit,
Mhm.
or cast it from your graveyard and still get this benefit, I could see it being much more reasonable. But because it has to come out of your command zone, you have to pay that tax on it every time.
Yeah.
That makes it a little bit hard for me to rationalize. So
Yeah.
that's why it's in our removal. That's it. I mean, 3 cards in this deck that we recommended you replace. That's how good we think this deck is, just straight out of the box.
Yeah.
It's probably the most competitive of all of them.
I don't know. The Jeskai one is pretty aggressive as well.
Jeskai is good too. I mean, okay, so maybe with that being said, because I also really love the Sultai one, and I think it's quite competitive too. Not as much so as these two, but still good. That just speaks to what
Yeah.
Magic the Gathering and
Yeah.
they're doing with all of their new precons.
Yeah.
I-
They did a really good job.
really good job.
And the crazy part is all these are technically 2s.
Yeah.
Except for the one with Seedboard Muse, which is now a
Abzan.
3. Abzan.
Yeah.
That's technically a 3 because the Seedboard
Because
Muse
the
is a
Seedboard,
game
yeah,
changer. But everything else is 2s.
Yeah, and I would play these 2s
Yeah.
probably without a ton of upgrades
Yeah.
at a higher powered
Yeah.
table.
With minimal upgrades, these could all compete at 3s. If you're a really good pilot, maybe 4s.
Yeah.
But you'd have to be a really good pilot, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to our next one. We just spoke about it, Jeskai. And Jeskai Striker here, we've got Shinko and Narset unified as the primary commander here. Shinko and Narset unified is a legendary creature, human spirit dragon. So we're getting the human commander and the spirit dragon in one card. How exciting! Flying.
The price of one.
Whoa! 4 CMC for this guy. It is generic blue, red, white. Flying and vigilance. Love me some flying vigilance.
Yeah.
It also says flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, copy that spell. If it targets a permanent or a player, you may choose new targets for the copy. If you don't copy a spell this way, draw a card. Once again, you've got card draw built into your commander if you choose to not copy.
Yeah.
But it's any spell. It's not specifically an instant or specifically a sorcery like we usually see with Spellslinger decks.
Yeah.
This is any spell. So you cast out a I don't know, I'm thinking Impact Tremors.
Yeah.
You cast out an Impact Tremors, you get 2 copies of Impact Tremors, and all of a sudden you're doing 2 damage every time a creature comes in. That's just a super basic example. There are other cards that are probably more worthwhile you copying, but it's every second spell you play.
Yeah. And it's per turn, not per your turn,
Yeah.
but per turn. So each other player, you can also get a trigger if you need to on this.
Yeah, a couple of instants, and
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you're doing some things.
Yeah. And like I think this is incredibly powerful. And they've done a really good job at making it a little less powerful by making it the second, not the first card that you cast per turn.
If it was first, I mean that would be
just
nuts.
like all of your
Yeah.
removal spells basically are just immediately done out. Just easily.
Yeah. Great primary commander.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the secondary.
Yeah. Moving along to Elsha Threefold Master. This is just it's good and I like it. Picasso. So Elsha,
Shopping casual quotes.
yeah, really. Elsha Threefold Master is a blue, a red, and a white.
Once again, cheap.
Once again, cheap for a 1/1 with trample. Prowess, which prowess counts the amount of non-creature spells cast and gives a 1/1 buff for every time you cast one. And then, whenever Elsha deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 white monk creature tokens with prowess.
Hmm.
This is like I'm going to build my army, or I'm going to get big and build my army. And then me and my army are going to get big and then build more army.
Yeah.
And it just kind of keeps it
Yeah.
keeps expanding.
Yeah. Very
It's
cool.
really, really, and it's simple too. I
Yeah.
like that it's really simple to
So
get.
someone could pick up this card, read it, and understand. Okay, so I'm creating monks and swinging monks and creating
Yeah,
monks and swinging monks. So
yeah,
yeah, absolutely, it's easy to play,
yeah,
cheap, cheerful.
absolutely.
Kind of love it. Top cards. Moving on. Variant Voice of Duality is our first choice for top cards here. 3 CMC, 1 generic, 1 blue, 1 red, for a legendary creature, Ifrit Wizard, that says Magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, Varian gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. If you casting or copying an instant or sorcery spell causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. There's a lot going on there. My brain can't fully comprehend it, but I know that when you cast your second spell with our friendly friends Shiko and Narset out on the table, you're going to get a double trigger, which is going to put 2/1/1 counters on there. Plus, if you have another creature out there on the field that is getting benefits from you playing instants or sorceries, you are now also benefiting them again.
He also triggers himself. It doesn't say other permanents, it's just of a permanent. So you
Oh,
cast a spell, you copy the spell,
yeah. Oh, so
right?
you're actually making
And
him a 6/6
it,
on your second spell.
he's just gonna go and just rack up those plus. Now it's not counters, it's only till the end of turn, but
Yes.
still,
Yeah.
right? If you're gonna drop 3 or 4 or 5 instants or sorceries in your turn,
Yeah.
it can really benefit. And then also you can use it in defense, right? You say, okay, I'm going to block, and in response, I'm going to play an off
Mm,
and go and draw a card, but Varen's going to get +1/+1,
yeah.
right?
Fair enough.
And then he's going to see himself
Getting +1/+1
get a
and
plus one
get
plus
another
one
+1/+1.
and get a
Yeah.
second trigger,
Very cool.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, he's really. I think he's kind of one of those sleeper cards where you look
Yeah,
at
there's a
it.
lot of text on there. So,
Yeah,
like me personally, a little bit of backstory, everybody. As some of you might know if you've listened to previous episodes, I hate Spellslinger decks. I don't play them. I'm not good with them. I like big stompy, stomp you in the ground. We're good. So reading that for me,
ooh, that was tough.
it was
That was
probably a
tough.
poor card for me to choose to read.
Yeah.
But now I see the value.
The next up is Stormkiln Artist. It's 4 CMC for a dwarf shaman, a 2/2. And this creature gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control.
Handy.
It's nice. We don't
Yeah.
really care about it, but it is nice. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, create a treasure token.
So this is another Magecraft ability. I'm noticing a theme. Lots of Magecraft. Kind of like it.
Yeah.
I
Um,
also love free treasure.
Ramp in these colors, very hard to come by. This again rewards you by ramping when you play the game.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. Very cool card.
Yeah.
Moving up next, Lear, Disciple of the Drowned. 5 CMC, 3 generic, 2 blue for this one. Legendary creature, human wizard, with a 3/4 stat line. Spells can't be countered in a Spellslinger deck. That's his first bit of text, by the way. Each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard has flashback. The flashback cost is equal to that card's mana cost. So, not only can I not do anything about you blowing up my creatures and then doubling that and blowing up my creatures some more, I also can't do anything about you playing them from the graveyard and destroying my creatures some more.
Yeah.
I mean, that's potentially one of the best
Yeah.
spell slinger combo pieces I have ever seen. The only downside, it's a creature, it's easily killed.
Here's the wild part though. Um, Counterspell wars are disabled with this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're against another player who has a blue player, and they're like, I'm gonna play removal. I really need this to go, so I have 3 counterspells in my hand. Actually, they play the removal. You counter it. That's the end of that. It doesn't
Full
matter if they
stop.
have more
Yeah,
counters. If they don't have more removal, they can't do anything about
yeah, full stop.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely incredible card. Love to see it, hate to see it. Please don't play it. See you later.
Yeah, that about sums it up really well. This is a relatively, it's on there because it's good and it's powerful, but it's pretty hated by a lot of people.
Yeah, I can imagine
Yeah,
that not surviving too long.
yeah,
That's a kill on sight kind of card right
it
there.
it
Yeah.
really is. Next we have Will of the Jeskai. It is 3 and a red for a sorcery where you choose one. If you control the commander, you can when you cast a spell, you may choose both instead. The mode number 1, each player may discard their hand and draw 5 cards.
Card draw.
Well, filtering.
Yeah.
Get what you need. You have nothing useful in your hand, chuck it.
Yeah.
You have one thing useful and 4 things not useful, chuck. Second one, each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback into the end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to its minimum cost. Again,
I have a handful of instants with my commander out. I don't necessarily want to play all of them now. I put them all in my graveyard. I pull out 5 new cards. I now cast them from my graveyard.
that
Incredible.
the
Yeah.
other thing you do, you have a graveyard loaded full of instant sorceries. This is your last card in hand. You cast it, you discard 0 cards, you don't have any left, draw 5, and now you're back with fuel.
Yeah.
Like, application for this card is great.
Moving on to Baral's Expertise. This is a 5 CMC, 3 generic, 2 blue for a sorcery card. In a Cell Slinger. Wow. Return up to 3 target artifacts and or creatures to their owner's hands. You may cast a spell with mana value 4 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. So you're paying 5 mana to play 4 mana for free. So basically you're paying 1 mana to return 3 target artifacts and or creatures.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the way to look at that.
Yeah.
And just very cool. Lots of removal. Cheap if you look at it that way. So make sure you have something in your hand that you're wanting to play anyway. Very cool.
One of the reasons, like, it's just good on its own. One of the reasons this made it onto list was actually when we did one of our playtest games. And I don't remember if you remember, but you copied this spell.
Oh, did I?
And you
I forgot I played
literally,
this deck
yeah,
because I hate the spell slingers. So, but now you're reminding me. I did play this deck,
yeah.
didn't I? Yeah.
You had an enchantment out that lets you copy as well.
Yeah.
And so you cast this, you copied it twice,
Yeah.
and you went and removed 9 things from the board, and then everybody just scooped. We're like,
Yeah.
we can't deal with this. We're out of here.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty incredible. Metageyser is next. It is 5 CMC, 3 generic, 2 red. For a sorcery, it says add a red for each tapped land your opponents control. Like, just, I don't even know how to begin to explain how good this card is, even if you're playing it at turn 5. So at turn 5, with 3 opponents, if they're all using their entire mana base, is 15 red mana that you get to just spit out. And then if you're copying it, it turns into 30 red mana. You just put out your entire hand because you can.
Because you
It's
can.
just good.
I really enjoy the next card you put on here. Simply because we're talking about having 30 red mana. And then we play this card, which is an X cost card called Electro Dominance. It is X plus 2 red. Electro Dominance deals X damage to any target. You may cast a spell with mana value X or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. I mean, I've got 30 red that I'm just sitting on, and I don't really care about where it goes. So I'm going to put it into Electro Dominance and ping 30 damage off your face and say bye bye.
Player elimination.
Player elimination. What an incredible combo to put back to back in the list. I think you did that on purpose. I love it.
Completely accidental, to be honest, but I also love it.
Yeah, cool.
Right. And that's not even, like, the fact that you can player eliminate, fantastic. The fact that after that, it's like, I'm just going to sneak in something good here.
Yeah.
Right at the end there.
Yeah.
Like the next card.
Yeah. Wow, it's almost like we plan this when we really don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next card here is Whirlwind of Thought. It's an enchantment. 1 generic, a red, a blue, and a white. 4, an enchantment that says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, draw a card.
In a spell slinging deck.
Just
our camera operator, editor, side piece is dying on the couch because he's upset.
His soul might have just exited his body.
That this has white in it because I would cry. So you know exactly.
Niv?
It
Yeah.
It would be a Niv instantly. Thank God it can't be.
Immediately. Yeah.
Just good. Card draw in a spell slinger is unnecessary,
It's free cards. Free
but
cards.
there it is. It's right there.
This is
You saw it here
capitalism
first.
plus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. Again, this goes back to like we just went through a bunch of mana cheating options
Yeah.
there. The most powerful effect in the game, and then card draw
The
for
second
doing
most.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The second most powerful in the game.
Yeah.
Like
Very strong deck. I really wish I liked spell slingers more than I do, but I don't. If you like spell slingers, buy this deck.
cool. It's good.
Replaceable cards is what we are moving on to now, ladies and gentlemen. We have a few more in this just because there's a lot of things that can go in this deck that aren't, that are just good. Red and blue spell slingers are just good. Starting with Mangara the Diplomat for 4 CMC, 3 generic, 1 white. It is a legendary creature human cleric with a 2/4 stat line. Lifelink is his keyword, and he goes on to say whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you and or planeswalkers you control, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card. I love card draw as much as the next guy. Not worth it for the cost.
It's high cost, and you can't even control it.
No.
It's incidental. It's like, I guess you played your second spell. I guess I'll get a benefit.
Yeah.
Like, even when you compare, if you go apples to apples here, Whirlwind of Thought is just flat better.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
it's an enchantment, which means it's harder to remove. Right? Creature removal is the easiest removal.
Absolutely.
It is in different colors, right? So you need a little bit more specific mana, but that's fine. If you're playing correctly, you mulligan correctly, make sure that you're getting what you need for mana and all that. Roll into Thought should be easy enough to get out, and the payoff is way better on Roll into Thought. You pay off for you doing things instead of your opponent doing things.
Yeah, absolutely. Just better cards out there than this.
Yeah.
Not to say it's a bad card. Once again, play your deck however you want to play your deck. If you love this card, keep it in there. But there's just better cards out there.
Yeah. Up next is Transcendent Dragon. It's 6 CMC, 4 generic, 2 blue for a 4/3 dragon. It's got flash and flying. This creature enters if you cast it, counter target spell. If that spell is countered this way, exile it instead of putting it into the owner's graveyard. Then you may cast it without paying its mana cost. So I understand that the ability to, when somebody casts it, basically you just steal the card. I understand that that's a great effect. For 6 mana, unless I have nothing else to do, I'm not holding up 6 mana.
Yeah.
Right? Especially on the gamble that somebody else has something worth me stealing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's in a spellslinger deck, it just doesn't fit.
No, it's too expensive. It's nice to have a big meaty thing that you can just drop down in front of someone who's attacking you, which spell slingers sometimes lack, but 4/3 isn't big
4/3.
enough and meaty enough for me to consider that card being good enough.
Yeah.
Moving on next, big score. 4 CMC, 3 generic, 1 red. As for an instant card, as an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card. Okay. Draw 2 cards and create 2 treasures. It's filtering. It's really expensive filtering at the end of the day.
Yeah, 4 mana and a card for 2 cards and 2 treasures. You're not even net zero.
No.
Right.
Very expensive. I mean, technically speaking, you've only spent 2 mana on this if you take into account the 2 treasures, but even still, having to discard a card to cast it, very situational with what's in your hand.
And the way it's really breaking down though, like if you kind of offset everything, you are only paying 1 mana for 1 card. Is how that kind of breaks down if you take the discard, the draws, and all that. But it costs 4 mana. At the end of the day, even with all the kind of rationalizing and all that, it's a 4 mana card, and it's costing you a card in your hand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The
Price is high for, I mean, decent reward at the end of the day, but just not. There's better.
Blue can draw cards better.
Yeah.
Red can make just treasure tokens without having the penalty better. There's no reason to be trying to jumble.
I get it. It's one card doing the job of two, but it's not doing it
yeah,
well enough for it to be worth it.
Yeah.
Just get the two cards.
yeah. Up next, we have Sublime Epiphany. It is 6 CMC, again, for generic, 2 blue for an instant that says choose one or more. There's a lot of options on this. Counter target spell. Counter target activated or triggered ability. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. Target player draws a card.
Lots of use out of this.
The yeah,
Lots of things you can do with this card. Primary thing that I feel like people keep this card for, and the rest of it is gravy, is the counter spells. Maybe the countering a targeted ability, but ultimately, it's the same as that dragon, just
yeah,
slightly worse because it's not got a creature attached to it either.
yeah. You're holding up 6 mana to counter some stuff. You're never, I shouldn't say never. You're very rarely going to counter a spell and an ability,
Yeah,
right?
not at the same time.
Not at the same time.
No.
It's possible. There's some things where it's on cast trigger, so you could, right? But chances are no,
Yeah.
right? And then the other three are kind of gravy. They've
Yeah.
thrown those in to make it 6 mana for a counter spell worth it.
Yeah.
Is really what they've done,
That's exactly what they've done.
right?
Yeah.
I don't think holding up 6 mana in any game is worth it, right? 2, 3, sometimes even 4. Absolutely, I can rationalize that. But 6,
6 is
there's
expensive
there's
for a
things,
counter spell.
yeah, there's things that I can do with that on my turn, or be holding it up specifically to do things that will guaranteed pay off on the end of somebody else's turn.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Last but not least in our list of trade outs here, ladies and gentlemen, we got Magma Opus, 8 CMC.
Yeah.
Big cost. 6 generic, 1 blue, 1 red. Magma Opus deals 4 damage divided as you choose among any number of targets. Tap 2 target permanents, create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token, draw 2 cards. It also has a cycle ability, which creates you a treasure, which is probably what I would use this card for.
Yeah, really. Paying to discard and make a treasure.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Once again, this is very similar to the last card we just talked about. There's lots of things happening on this card. Lots of different triggers come off of this card. If this deck cared about triggers happening, keep it. You've got 5 triggers happening in this card, but it doesn't. It cares about spells being cast.
Yeah.
You're casting 1 spell for 8. It's a lot.
Uh,
Let's talk about what
yeah.
it does. 4 damage is piddly. Sure, you can
Yeah.
ping 4 tokens and get rid of 4 tokens. 4/1/1 tokens go bye
Yeah.
bye, but it's piddly damage. Tap 2 target permanents. Kind of handy. Again, you ping 4 piddly little tokens and then you tap 2 creatures, and all of a sudden you've opened up a board state. But so situational.
It's so
So
situated. And in a
situational.
spell scenario where you're probably not attacking.
You're not really swinging. Yeah. Create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. Actually, my favorite part of this card.
Yeah.
Draw 2 cards. Get it. Value ish. But there's 4 cards that do each of those things for less mana combined than this one card does all of them. And I get it's doing it all in one, but it's just.
I would rather have 4 cards.
Yeah.
Because then I can, like, if we're playing with Elsha and we're counting prowess.
Yeah.
I get each one of these effects, but now I get prowess 4
exactly
instead of prowess 1.
Sultai Arisen. This is the deck that I purchased. This is the deck that I play. It's the deck that I probably know the best. I really enjoy it. Maybe not as competitive as the last 2 we spoke about, but still very good. We are talking about Tival the Balanced Scale. Tival is a 4 CMC, 1 generic black, green, blue, legendary spirit dragon. Once again, we're back to spirit dragons with flying. Tival's text is whenever Tival attacks, mill 3 cards, then you may return a land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Whenever 1 or more cards leaves your graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie druid creature token. Tival herself is a 4/4. I did that really awkwardly, but I love her. She is token gen, landfall, recursion, milling. She feeds your graveyard, all in one card. I love her. She's fantastic.
It is a good card. I will always say that she's a good card because she is a good card. I disagree that she's the correct commander.
That's because you're wrong.
No, I'm definitely 100% right, but that's okay. The second one, the secondary, is Codas Sibsig Champion. It is a black, a green, and a blue, notably cheaper, which means faster to
Oh
play,
my goodness.
to evolve, for a 3/3 zombie warrior. It says once during each of your turns, you may cast a creature spell from your graveyard by exiling 3 other cards from your graveyard, in addition to paying its other costs. Whenever one or more creature you control enters, if one or more of them entered from a graveyard or was cast from the graveyard, put 2+1/+1 counters on Codas. Now, the thing that I like about this is it guarantees recursion of something basically every turn, right? As soon as you get in
Yes.
there, because of the heavy mill theme of this deck, which we'll get into in a moment, it guarantees there's always something to exile, always a way to bring something back, right?
Fair enough.
And also, it's got the ability to pump Codas up to eventually be that one-shot robot or the standing threat, right? As long as you can protect him, it's a really good political piece.
Speaking of protection, there's not a ton in this deck, so if you do pick it up, put some protection in here.
Yeah, that is
Really
actually one of the notes I put in here is I would really love to see more protection
Yeah.
in this deck.
There's not a Swiftfoot. There might be a Swiftfoot Boots.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
There's no Whisper Silk.
Yeah.
There's no
Lightning Greaves.
There's very little for protection. So absolutely, that's the upgrade that you need to do for this deck. Just so you know.
I would even love to see some like winged boots in here.
Yeah.
Just kind of a weird thing. I like winged boots, but I'm kind of particular about what I put it in. But I would love to see it in here.
Yeah. Yeah. Very fair. I can understand the Voltron approach. I can understand the guaranteed recursion. I like spewing things out of my graveyard at a rapid pace. So that's what I do with Devolve, and we'll never agree on it. And one day we'll play both of these decks versus each other, and we'll just play 1v1 these decks, one commander, the other commander. We'll see how it goes. I'll win.
That's wild.
That's a good
That's
idea.
wild.
I think it's the only way to play.
I think we have to do a best of 3 though, because you can have like
that's true.
well, like back
Yeah.
draws on one or something like that. I think we have to do a best of 3.
We should try it though.
We
I
should.
think it's a fun. Let's move on to our top card section. We've got Gravecaller coming in as the number one CMC. It's a black, guaranteed to trigger your commander ability every single turn, regardless of which commander you use. It is a 2/1 zombie. This creature can't block, so it's not blocking for you. You may cast this creature from the graveyard as long as you control a zombie. Guess what? Almost every creature in this deck is a zombie of some form or another. Lots of zombies in here. You're almost always going to have a zombie on the field, which means you're almost always going to be casting Gravecaller from the graveyard, which means you're almost always triggering your commander's ability.
Yeah.
Next
next one is Reassembling Skeleton. It is 1 generic, 1 black for a total of 2 CMC for a 1/1. It has an ability that is 1 generic, 1 black. Return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Wow, it's almost like there's 2 Gravecrawlers in here, just one slightly more expensive and not quite as good.
Yeah. Well, and the difference is Gravecrawler can't block.
Yeah.
So he's just there to be chumped to Skull Clamp or something like that.
Yeah.
Whereas Reassembling Skeleton can
block. My goodness, can you imagine Skull Clamping Gravecrawler and bringing him back and just
you're just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Incredible.
I
didn't even think about that. I kind of love it. Kishless Skimmer. This is a 2 CMC, green and blue. Creature, Bird Scout, 2/2. Flying, whenever a card leaves your graveyard during your turn, draw a card. It only triggers once a turn. Oh no, you're guaranteed having something leave your graveyard at least once a turn. Taval absolutely guarantees it. Codas is very likely.
Like, it's really just we have an extra card turn. Just have it.
Yeah.
Just take it.
Yeah.
Just
my least favorite thing about this card is I've drawn it once.
Yeah.
I've played this deck probably 20 times and I've drawn it once.
That is an evasive bird.
It's an evasive bird. Probably won't happen to you though. Great bird.
Yeah. Up next, Disciple of Bolus.
Marin of Clan Nel Toth. I love seeing another commander just in the 99.
It's really funny. When I saw this printed, I was like, hey, I have one of those decks.
Yeah, yeah. So
Like-
for CMC, um, incredibly high synergy with the rest of this. For those of you who don't know, Marin of Clan Niltoth is a legendary creature human shaman. Whenever another creature you control dies, you get an experience counter. At the beginning of your end step, choose target creature card in your graveyard. If that card's mana value is less than or equal to the number of experience counters you have, return it to the battlefield. Otherwise, put it in your hand. She is guaranteed recursion, very similar to Cotis.
Yeah.
With the key difference, you don't have to pay anything for the recursion.
She's just faster than Cotis.
Yeah.
Just straight up, it's very easy to get up to 4 or 5 experience counters in one turn.
Yeah.
And being able to just suck something back to the battlefield, like she's just fast.
Just good. Just good. Now that being said, this is where protection comes in handy.
Yeah.
In a Marin as your commander deck, she comes back out hundreds of times. It doesn't matter. You're not worried about it. When she's just in the 99, if she goes to the graveyard or gets exiled, she's gone.
Yeah.
And basically anything to do with experience counters is ruined.
I mean, you can always pull her back and all that,
Absolutely.
and the experience counters stay right. They
Yes.
attach to the player.
Yeah.
Right. So, but it's still
It's more of a hassle to bring her back
yeah.
than it needs to
Yeah.
be.
Especially if like if you're using Cotis and you're having to exile 3 cards, you're starting to run into things that you want to bring back with her. But you have to
Exactly.
exile. Like it just gets messy.
Yeah. So protection. Key
Yeah.
thing. Put protection in this deck. Full stop.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Yeah. Next up is Lord of the Forsaken, 6 CMC for 4 generic, 2 black for 6/6 flying trample. Just base. Like we've seen a lot of cards that don't hit the base of mana is equal to power toughness.
Yeah.
This did that plus flying, and trample is just great.
Flying trample is an insane
It's
set
just-
of keywords.
Yeah, it's just good.
Yeah.
You can pay 1 black to sacrifice another creature. Target player mills 3 cards. This is really great. You can target yourself with this. You want to be sacking your creatures. You also want to be milling. You want a full graveyard to choose from.
Until somebody Bajuka bogs and then you cry
And then
into
you
your
cry.
tea.
And then you cry. Yeah. The next part, pay 1 life, add 1 colorless, spend this mana only to cast a spell from your graveyard. There is no tapping involved with either of these.
No.
You can just sink into them as
Yeah.
much as you need to be able to do what you want, which means you
Yeah.
have really great recursion, you have really great mill, you have really great sack.
Yeah.
Which means if you want to abuse ETBs, you can just cycle through Lord of Forsaken to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing.
And if you're to a point where all of a sudden your graveyard is full, you can target another player with the mill as well.
Yeah.
If you wanted to play this as a mill deck and try and mill your opponents down, that's absolutely possible with this deck. Not the way that I would do it, but absolutely possible.
I mean, it's great for punishing things like the Just Guy deck where they're just doing a ton of drawing, right?
Yeah.
They get to a real thin deck, and you're like, well, you know
Well,
what?
I'm going to start milling you now.
Yeah.
Moving on to Colossal Grave Reaver. This is another incredibly expensive card. Almost pays off power toughness, but 8 CMC, 6 generic, black, and a green. Just incredible in this deck, though. It
Yeah.
is expensive. It comes with a creature dragon tagline, not legendary. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
7/6 is its stat line. It is flying. It shouldn't be able to, but it is. Whenever this creature enters or attacks, mill 3 cards.
Just great.
Just great.
You want a full graveyard? Yeah, have a full graveyard.
Yeah. Whenever 1 or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from your library, put 1 of them onto the battlefield. This is potentially my favorite card in this deck, actually. Not only are you taking a creature from Colossal Grave Reaver, 3 cards mill, likely to get a creature, put it on the battlefield, you're also doing it from Taval's and any other mill triggers that hit you. It's just good. It's just good value.
It's the cost of it and what it does, I think, puts it on pace with Marin.
Yeah.
Just more end game.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Marin is great, but she's a little bit slower because she does it at end step.
Mhm.
This much more expensive, but does it a lot faster.
Yeah, absolutely. You pair this with something like Lord of the Forsaken, which we just spoke about as well, and you're guaranteeing yourself 3 mills.
Yeah.
Just it
And
all compounds.
there's a ton of cards that we aren't talking about that mill. in
Yeah.
this, right? There's so many, right? So it's really good.
Yeah, very good.
Moving on, Will of the Sultai. It is 5 CMC, 4 generic, 1 green for sorcery. It's one of those will cards that we kind of brought up a little bit earlier,
Yeah.
where you get to choose one of the 2 modes, but if you control your commander, you get to choose both.
Yeah.
Mode number 1, target player mills 3 cards, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Just why?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I've done this a couple of times. It's incredible every time.
yeah, it does. And with Toval, where he's checking lands coming in,
Mm-hmm.
this is a great combo piece. Second part, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature, where X is the number of lands you control. It gains trample until the end of turn. Really funny because that part pairs really nicely with Codas.
Yeah.
So they've been like, here, you can have whatever the primary mode for your chosen commander is, but also have a bonus.
Yeah.
Right.
I actually saw last time I got this off. I think it was relatively late game. I had 5 or 6 lands in my graveyard, so that was just gravy. They came onto the battlefield. Pretty sure I had Avenger of Zendikar out too.
Oh,
So that was just 5/1/1s on all of those plants, which was great. But then I put those counters onto Taval,
yeah,
who is now I think I had 20 or so lands.
yeah,
So it's now a 24/24 flying trample commander.
yeah, yeah. Just really great.
Bye bye. Bye bye, somebody.
Really
Gone.
great.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Moving on. Replaceable cards. There's a few in this deck. Um, it- not as many as some, but there's a few.
Yeah.
Starting with Casualties 4. Main reason this one is getting removed is because it's very expensive. Very similar to like what we talked about with the last deck. 6 CMC for it's two generic, 2 black, 2 green. For choose one or more sorcery, which is destroy target artifact, destroy target creature, destroy target enchantment, destroy target land, destroy target planeswalker. Tons of value. Don't have to pick one board. I kind of love this card. You can target your own stuff if you want to, i.e., if you're playing Cabal and you want to have a land in your graveyard to bring back, and there's triggers that happen from that, you can target your own land. Things like that. Lots of utility, expensive.
6 mana for 5 destruction effects.
Yeah.
Is a little bit steep.
Yeah.
At sorcery speed, it's a little bit more harsh.
Yeah.
And only being able to pick one of each of the types, a little bit more harsh.
Yeah. It limits. It limits.
You have board wipes like Austere Command again, where it's I think it's the same cost. I think it's 6, and it's pick 2, and you can destroy all enchantments, all artifacts, or certain types of creatures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So it is limited for what it does. I think it's fun. I think it has value, but of all the cards in this deck to remove, this is probably one of the top ones to get rid of.
Yeah.
Moving on.
The next one is Woe Strider. 3 CMC, 2 generic, 1 black for a horror 3/2 creature. When this creature enters, create a 0/1 white goat creature token. That is my favorite part of this card.
Yeah.
The rest of it, I'm like,
yeah.
The next one, sacrifice another creature, scry 1. And then escape for 5, exile 4 other cards from your graveyard to cast it out of your graveyard. And then lastly, this creature escapes with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. First, you should never be escaping this. Never. 4 cards from your graveyard plus 5 mana for a 3/2 sack outlet is terrible.
I mean, technically it's a 5/4 when you escape it.
Well, okay.
But still.
You can swap out a Viserys here for this for a 1 mana that does exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just not as good as other things that are out.
This is the one card in this deck that I saw it. I couldn't find a place for it. I removed it pretty much the first day I had the deck.
Yeah.
It's just it doesn't fit the theme. Sure, you can sacrifice your creatures, but that's it. There's just no good. There's no good.
There's too much text. The cost is too high for what it's supposed to be doing. There's cards that do what it does better.
Yeah.
It's just not good.
The only good thing, like you said, Viserys does better, and that's the sacrifice to scribe, and just
just immediately swap it out for Viserys.
Yeah, move on with your life.
Yeah.
Cool. Last up on our list of replaceables, Anthem Mutineer. It is a 4 CMC, 3 generic, 1 blue for a 3/3 Salamander Pirate. When this creature enters, exile up to one target non-salamander creature. That creature's controller creates a 3/4 blue salamander warrior creature token. You do have the Encore ability with this, so I guess that's nice. Again, it's a recursion deck. You're never going to use an ability to pull your creatures out of
Yeah.
the graveyard. You're going to use any of the 100 pieces of recursion that are just built into the deck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, this guy here, I mean,
The problem with him, it's 4 mana for a piece of removal,
yeah.
right? Not even
And not even good
like
removal because you're giving whatever you remove a 4/3 creature.
yeah. This is just a worst piece with it,
Yeah, exactly.
right? Or like there's so many. There's Beast Within, Generous Gift, the why am I there's the blue one, that Rapid Hybridization.
Mm.
They're all 3 mana, get a 3/3.
Yeah.
Not 4 mana, get a 4/3.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's just
not as good.
It's just not good.
And I get that you get a 3/3 creature with this, so that kind of makes up for the extra 1 mana, but get rid of it.
Just get a
Doesn't hit
proper
the deck.
piece of removal.
Yeah.
Just get a proper piece
Yeah,
of removal.
exactly.
At instant speed, by the way.
Or put some protection in.
Yeah. Or do something that's not this.
Yeah, not this. Cool. Moving on to the last of the decks. Femur Roar. Starting with Ernie.
Ireni?
Starting with Ireni of the Unwritten. This is a huge card. 7 CMC, 4 generic, a green, a blue, and a red for another Spirit Dragon. This is a 7/7 Spirit Dragon, though, so the mana cost matches the power and toughness. Flying Trample, love to see it. Whenever Ireni enters or attacks, look at the top 8 cards of your library. You may put a dragon card creature from among them onto the battlefield, put the rest of them on the bottom of your library in a random order. Huge value piece. If you use this, throw in a ton of dragons into your deck, and all of a sudden you're spitting out a free dragon. I love mana cheating in my commander, but very expensive. Not what I would use for the commander.
Yeah, he doesn't feel like a commander to me at all.
No, he's just a creature in the 90s.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
The commander that you probably should run, I feel, is a lot better, is Eshki Teemer's Roar. Now, we talked about this in the set review because it was just so good. We'll go over it again, though. It's a green, blue, and a red for a 2/2 human warrior. It says whenever you cast a creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Eshki. Great. You get rewards for playing the deck.
Yeah.
If that spell's power is 4 or greater, draw a card. Great. You get more rewards for playing the deck.
What a strange color to have this in.
Yeah.
Teamer doesn't do big creatures.
Like, and then lastly, if that spell's power is 6 or greater, Eshki deals damage equal to Eshki's power to each opponent. Rewards upon rewards upon rewards for simply playing the deck. She's fast. She's out by turn 3, turn 4 if you're playing the deck well, and if it likes you a little
Turn
bit.
2,
right?
If you're playing the deck well.
How did you get it turn 2?
Land, Arcane Signet, second land.
It's true. You could have turn 2 if your ramp is good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Which all of these decks have Arcane Signet and Soul Ring.
Yeah. Top cards. We'll start with Sarkhan, Soul of Flame. This is a 3 CMC, 1 generic, 1 blue, 1 red. Legendary creature, human shaman, 2/4 stat line. Dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Let's just discount some dragons in a dragon deck.
Yeah.
Second part is whenever a dragon you control enters, you may have Sarkhan become a copy of it until the end of turn, except its name is Sarkhan, Soul of Flame, and it's a legendary in addition to its other types. So, I mean, this is... I play a Dino deck. I have some for Limitator. This is a slightly worse, but slightly better in a different way, some for Limitator, where you now have 2 of the same dragon. If those dragons have ETBs, like a few of these do, you're doing it twice.
Even if they have attack triggers.
Yeah.
If they have anything where it's valuable, you're just doing it twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
It also, in this case, like if the dragon you bring in doesn't have haste, so you're going on attack triggers, it gives you the trigger off of Sarkhan instead immediately.
Because he doesn't need haste because he's already on the field.
Already out. So you're accelerating your board with it. For 3 mana, I think that's pretty
Not mad at it at all.
Next up is Leyline Tyrant, 4 CMC. So 2 generic, 2 red for 4/4 flyer. You don't lose unspent red mana as steps and phases end. Really, really, really important. It means you can battery red mana. So if you're sitting on 3 or 4th end of turn, you just tap all of it. Great. I have 4 red floating as I go into my next turn. Yeah. Really, really strong on its own. When this creature dies, you may pay any amount of red mana. When you do, it deals that much damage to any target. If you just battery for 3 or 4 turns and nobody deals with it, you now have a nuke.
Yeah.
You're like, you want to come at me? Well,
If you kill me, I kill you.
yeah,
If you kill this, I kill you.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's just you just have a nuke. It's I think
Kinda love
really
it.
great.
Yeah. Kind of love it. Thundermane Dragon. Notice that there's a lot of dragons in this.
There's a lot of dragons.
Thundermane Dragon. 4 CMC again. 3 generic, 1 red this time for a 4/4 dragon. Flying. Dragons fly. Who knew? You may look at the top card of your library at any time. I love
Love it.
scry on command.
Yeah, that's almost what it is.
Yeah.
Like the ability just to be like, oh, great,
Yeah, scry on demand. I love it.
yeah.
You may cast creature spells with power 4 or greater from the top of your library. If you cast a creature spell this way, it gains haste until the end of turn. So not only are you scrying on demand, if you happen to turn something like a big old dragon, where would you find one of those? I don't know. Not in this deck, obviously. Big old dragon. You play it. It has haste. You swing it.
No, it
times.
combos with Sarkhan.
So well.
And there's a whole bunch of others. There's like Dragonwood Servant and all that kind of stuff where
Mhm.
it discounts dragons. So like, for instance, if you get another one where it's 3 generic and 1 red, there's enough in here to actually discount the 3. So you can just pay 1 red, bring out a hasty 4/4 boy,
I love it.
Arcane copies, and you're moving.
I love
Like it really fits nicely into
Very
the
well.
teamer aggression
Yeah.
type feel.
Yeah. Very well.
Moving on. Nesting Dragon. This is 5 CMC, 3 generic, 2 red for a 5/4 flying dragon creature. With landfall, whenever a land you control enters, create a 0/2 red dragon egg creature token with defender. Holy moly. And when this token dies, create a 2/2 red dragon creature token with flying and pay 1 red. This token gets +1/+0 until the end of turn. That was a lot of we're going to stack into stack and stack.
Yeah.
Real Russian nesting egg doll.
Yeah, this is a dragon that lays eggs that gives you dragons that get bigger. That's essentially how this works.
Yeah.
I love Atla Palani on steroids, which is basically what this is.
This is yeah, really.
I mean, you're creating tokens instead of pulling creatures from your deck, but at the same time, you're losing a defender egg to create a creature which can now attack on your turn. So someone swings at you, you lose your defender, you have a creature that's swinging back.
And if you have Leyline Tyrant out, you've been battering your mana there.
Yeah.
You now have a whole bunch to feed into the dragons.
Yeah.
And just whop a whole bunch of damage out in one turn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very good. Hammerhead Tyrant, 6 CMC, 4 generic, 2 blue for, wouldn't you know it, a 6/6 dragon. Flying. Whenever you cast a spell, return up to 1 target non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to that spell's mana value to its owner hand. Removal built into your deck. You're going to be playing some big mana value cards here. You're basically removing whatever you want off of someone else's deck when this creature is out.
Yeah.
You're playing probably at least 1 dragon a turn. It doesn't matter if you mana cheat them, you're still doing full cost.
Yeah.
That's
the big thing, right? If you're cheating 3 CMC off of a 6 CMC creature, you paid 3 CMC to remove a 6.
Yeah.
6, what is it, CMC?
6 CMC. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Really, really just, I think, great removal.
I think so too.
Yeah.
We've talked about expensive removal in a couple of the decks now. This is technically expensive removal, but it's reoccurring. It's guaranteed. It's good.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not like you have to do the removal intentionally. It's incidental. It happens because you play the deck.
Exactly.
Right? Which is, I think, one of the things that makes it really strong.
Yeah.
Lathless Dragon Queen. This should be no surprise to anybody that's on here. This is, again, 6 CMC, 4 generic, 2 red for 6/6 flyer. Whenever another non-token dragon you control enters, create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying. You can pay 2 dragons you control get +1/+0 until the end of turn. This is really important for that last part. Pay 2 for every one of your dragons to get +1/+0 instead of those little 2/2s where you're paying 1 just for that one token to get it. Right?
Just nutsy cuckoo.
Now, and then if you're mana cheating out creatures, your dragons, right? It gets out of hand really fast.
Really, really fast. Doubling your dragons plus with Sarkhan,
Yeah,
tripling your dragons.
Yeah.
Lots.
it's
lots.
insane. Yeah.
Selvalla's Stampede is our next card on the list. It is a 6 CMC, 4 generic, 2 green this time. We've hit all of the colors. For a sorcery card, starting with you, each player votes for wild or free. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card for each wild vote. Put those creature cards onto the battlefield, then shuffle the rest into your library. You may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield for each free vote. Either way, you're getting a creature.
You're actually getting 3 creatures.
Yeah,
If you're the
4
4-man pod,
you're getting 4
you're
because it starts with you. You get a vote too.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
look at that. You get 4 creatures.
4 creatures.
And you get whatever you want.
Yeah.
So you pay 6, even if you're saying I'm gonna pay 6 CMC to get out a 6 CMC creature, you're flat 0
Everything
and then
else
you
is
get
gravy.
3 freebies.
Yeah, everything else is great.
Fantastic.
Incredible. Absolutely
cheating.
going in a bunch of decks that I have.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Moving on to Dragon's Horde, 3 CMC is what it is for an artifact. It's 3 generic, by the way. Whenever a dragon you control enters, put a gold counter on this artifact. We can then either tap, remove a gold counter to draw a card, or tap for mana of any color. I'm always a big fan of versatile mana rocks.
Versatile mana rocks are fun.
Right?
This is actually one of the best versatile mana rocks I've seen in a while.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. Card draw or adding mana.
Or mana. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like even if you wanted to gold counters, right? If you've gone ahead and you've generated 2 or 3 cards off of it, the card is already worth it.
Absolutely. Very cool.
Yeah.
Last but not least, in our top cards, we've got Temur Ascendancy. This is 3 CMC, green, blue, red, for an enchantment. This enchantment says creatures you control have haste. Love it. It also says whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters a battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. Card draw and haste. This makes me think of Rhythm of the Wild, which is, I believe, the same mana cost, but with red and green only.
Yeah.
I
think so.
But you don't get card draw.
Yeah. it's just flat better, to be honest.
It really is.
It's just flat better, right?
Yeah.
Haste and card draw, when most of the deck is at that 4 power or higher, yeah, it's just good.
Yeah.
It's just good. There's no reason to not be using this.
Yeah. It should go out every time.
In fact, just about every teamer style deck should probably have one of these.
Absolutely.
To be honest.
Yeah. Moving on to the replaceables, boys and girls. We've got only 2.
Yeah. I really struggled to pull stuff out of this one.
Honestly, fair. When you have a deck that is focused around big dragons and the entire deck is just big dragons, what do you swap your big dragons with? Slightly bigger dragons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one, we have Rapacious Dragon, 5 CMC, 4 generic, 1 red for a 3/3 flyer. It's immediately kind of putting me off with not being on point with mana.
It's expensive.
And it says when this creature enters, create 2 treasure tokens. I see why they've done it.
Yeah.
They've said, hey, you're going to pay 5 for a 3/3, but you're going to get 2 back. So technically it's net 3.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's just not that
I
great.
think where this comes into effect is when you have something like Skarnout on the battlefield, and now you've got 4 treasures coming in. Right?
Yeah.
That's really the only place I can see this being beneficial. There's no blink in this deck that I've seen, at least. So it's not like you're having him ETB several times. It's one time, 2 treasures, not really worth it.
Yeah. Like, if you're relying on combos to make it really that good, you probably shouldn't be in there.
Probably not. The second and final card is Storm Breath Dragon, 5 CMC, 3 generic, 2 red, for a 4/4 dragon. It has flying, haste, and protection from white, which is
Just bonkers.
kind of
That's just great.
yeah, it's great. I mean, protection from white stops it from being exiled, but that's also very specific. But I'm always a fan of a protection.
Yeah.
Um, this is another monstrosity card, so it does have monstrosity 3. You pay 7, and you get 3 1/1s on it. We don't really like monstrosity. When this creature becomes monstrous, it deals damage to each opponent equal to the number of cards in that player's hand. I get it. I do. But if you time this correctly, i.e., you collective void, or no, not collective voyage. Nope, I can't think of a good card.
They're just like wheel cards that make people
Yeah.
draw a whole bunch, right? I've been in games where there's like 3 or 4, there's a Kami and a Howling Mine here and a Howling Mine there and stuff like that, where it can be good.
Situationally, very possible to do a lot of damage and
Yeah.
be good, but it's so situational. Find a different dragon.
And really, to do massive amounts of damage, if your opponents have that much mana, you're telegraphing because it has to be out on the field.
Yeah.
And you're paying the 12 mana
Yeah.
to do that. Like, I get it's 12 mana to potentially kill a table, but probably not. You're probably not going to do that. Find a better way to kill a table.
Yeah.
There's lots of them out there, I promise.
I could see it being an end game finisher. People have 7 cards in hand and only 7 life. Like, that's the only time I could see this maybe effectively killing people. Other than that, it's just not going to.
Yeah, it's just not there. Yeah.
Anyway,
That's
that
it.
brings us to the end.
Yeah, incredible.
Thanks for hanging with us, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pleasure having you with us.
Yeah, I hope this was at very least educational, if not entertaining, but hopefully a little bit more about the precons. If you're a little bit iffy about jumping into one of them, you have a little bit more information to work with going into that.
At the end of the day, guys, make sure you're making the deck about you and the game about the gathering. Thanks so much for joining us.